Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. And hello there, Protox. Welcome back. So today, I've been excited because it's time to do the face, and the face is always a good time. So, I'm always very happy to do it, but I got some corrections to do before I can do these things. Like, you're always welcome in my universe, Protox. Alright. So let's see here. Yes, I do have some corrections to take care of. I was looking at the balcony here, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm silly. I made these ones here that are... these columns here that are kind of coming forward the same size as the ones here in the background. You know, mistakes happen. It's okay. But I gotta fix that, because... I don't know, where her hand was sitting and some various other things was just bothering me, and... well, you know, it's all important, so I gotta fix that before I reward myself by drawing a cute face. Very important. You gotta get some of the less interesting stuff done first. Okay, so let's make these bigger. We'll bring these further forward. I'm probably gonna have to pull some shenanigans here, but you know what? I'm gonna move Leia. I'm gonna do this correctly. I am gonna make sure that everything is all lining up, and oh man, I wrecked like everything. So maybe I won't, but you know what? I'm still gonna try. Okay. So I'm just going to adjust everything then. Okay, so do I like the height of these? You know what? I think I want them a little bit lower. So all of these are roughly in a straight line. And I am actually going to take care to, you know, put them all in the right place here. But this part, I figured that these ones are all about equal distance from the viewer. Maybe this little balcony is a little bit more oval-shaped than circular, but even if it is circular, you know, I think this is fine. It probably curves back around somewhere over here. Way off screen. And see, this is why I didn't render any of this yet. Because I knew that I'd be adjusting things a lot, and that's why I kept this stencil here, and I will make this one look nice when the time comes. But right now, he's just gonna hang out over there. We're not real worried about that part yet. Okay, and so this is where things start curving around. But I don't think that this point is really that much closer than this point. So I'm gonna leave them about the same size. And before I do that, I'm gonna repair these guys just a little bit, just enough that it won't irritate me quite so much. Hello there, cakes. Welcome back. So there we go. You know, that's intact enough. That's fine. Okay. So I'll start putting all these back, and I see that I have some residue there from something. Probably this guy, but again, it's all right. I can kind of see what I'm doing there, and I think that's all that matters right now, since all of this is placeholder. But I'll line them up somewhat. Okay, so at this point, I think it's about the same size as this one, so I'm gonna make them all about the same size and spacing. But I think once we get here, they start getting a little bit closer. Just... well, maybe not there, actually. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, I think it's actually this one. I don't think this one is that much closer. Okay. It's maybe a little bit lower, though. Oh, that's late. Well, I hope you got plenty of sleep. Do you need a bunch of sleep to recover from the New Year's? I was good. I didn't stay up until midnight because I knew that I would have a terrible time the next day if I attempted to do something like that. So I didn't. Okay. So this is when I think things are going to start coming a little closer. So I'm going to put this one just a tad closer to this and make it a little bit bigger. Just a little bit. You can see it's not that much bigger. And actually thinking about it, I think I want this guy to be a little bit closer. There we go. Yeah, so these are all fairly equally spaced. Not exactly. I'll probably be a little bit more exact for the final version. It's probably close enough, but I actually do think that that would bother me a little bit, so let's just get it a little bit closer. All right. But yeah, so these are all equally spaced, roughly. Ah. Well, I mean, breaking bones is perhaps unfortunate, but I'm glad it was fun anyway. Alright. So yeah, these equal distance, and then as they get over here, they're gonna get closer because this balcony is turning towards us. So I think this guy is maybe a little bit too big. Just a little. There we go. Also crooked, but I'm not gonna worry about that. I think I skewed him at one point last time. That's fine. So now I want things to start getting a little bit bigger. I'm going to make this guy a little bit wider. And they're going to be a little bit closer together. And I will go from there. Let's see, I don't remember how far out this goes, so let's... Okay, yeah, I got a few more to work with if I want. I see. Well, I'm glad you had a fun New Year. And I hope that all of your 2026s are, you know, good and full of interesting things. Okay. So once again, I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. Some of these ended up getting a little bit skinny somehow. And they're going to start overlapping a bit. This might honestly be a little bit too strong. But we'll see how it looks with Leia in the picture. Okay. I'd be very concerned if that was the case because my mother is dead and does not have a house. Hello there, Meep. Welcome back. Okay, do I have any other... Okay, I did have one more just hidden in there. Okay. So I'm not sure if this is entirely right still. I think I might still make some more adjustments, but I do think it is much closer than what I had before. It's looking much more perspective-y. Oh, I see. Idioms are funny, aren't they? This reminds me of a funny story from a long time ago. Someone was playing I don't remember what game it is, some kind of a military-based game, and so then it was a very humorous one. And they mentioned that someone bought the farm, and he had no idea what they were talking about. Was able to figure it out from context, but idioms are amusing. Okay, yeah, that's all looking a lot better now. Let's see, let's push these guys a little over here. I still feel like these guys are maybe a little bit tall. Yes, it sounds like quite the experience, yes. Don't worry, I'm not offended. It's easy to forget that people not from your country may not know your country's idioms. Don't worry about it, man. It's all good. Okay, so I think something like that may be slightly more correct. And then I still don't think I have this part quite right. So how do I want to fix that? I guess I'm gonna have to break things. That's fine. I can break some things. I just want this guy to be maybe a little bit bigger. And a little bit more overlapping here. And I think I want everything to go a little bit further to the left. But I do like this. And then maybe I need one more, actually. Do I have another one over here somewhere? Okay, but I'm pretty sure I have one more over here somewhere. Hell yeah. Okay. Okay, good enough. Let's, oops. Let's get this guy into place here. I just wanted to go all the way to the edge. And for that, I need to make sure that, you know, all that kind of works out. Okay. So again, I'm not quite sure if this feels a flat to me yet, so I might still have a little bit of adjusting to do. Let me see, how do I want to do this? I mean, as long as you consider it worth it, man. There's a virtue in learning from your mistakes, but, you know, if it's worth, then I also think there's a virtue in doing what is fun and interesting. Okay. Let's bring this around. I'm gonna just kind of let them meld together for now. It's fine. And I think I might want this guy just ever so slightly closer to this one here. This little part here, I think is, you know, reasonably important. So I think it's worth spending a little bit of extra time just to get everything flat on the ground and make sure that she has a nice, stable place to stand on. It's a very stable... It's a very stable composition. So I do want to make sure that it still gives that impression. And I'm still less worried about that guy since he's going to be covered up. But I'll go ahead and fix it for now just so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, and now I do think I see the problem. So, what is making things not flat is like right over here. I'm actually going to use Liquify Force. This way I can adjust the stairs that I got going there. A little bit of brickwork that I have laying down there. Okay. So let's get that flattened out. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Cakes. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and a nice new year. Enjoy 2026 for all it's worth. Although honestly, I consider this to be a fairly simple one. This is pretty firmly within my comfort zone. I haven't drawn something that's been firmly in my comfort zone for a long time. So, you know, it's feeling kind of good. Because most of the time, I try to do something kind of wild and different for everything, for every drawing that I do. But no, for this one, I was like, let's take it easy. Let's just have a nice, easy time. I don't do that very often. Okay. What I think I'm gonna do, I am going to make these ones a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to squish down the entire thing. I just want them to be a little bit shorter. And I'm not minding all the distortion that I'm creating by doing all these transforms, like it's fine. That is why I have that layer saved over here. Just casually hanging out over there, because I know I'll be putting it back someday. So all is well. I just felt like it was getting a little bit tall. Let's see, how does it look with Leia in there now? Oh yeah, that's so much better. Okay, cool. So I think now I can put the railing back on. But yeah, I just wanted to get that correct before I did any further rendering. Because I felt like it wasn't. I felt like it was pretty far off. How do I want to do this? Can I just mesh this? Flop it back up here like this. I may or may not be able to. Not easily. Okay, I'm just gonna redraw it then. Whop. We just delete it. And then I put a little railing shape just out here on top. Oh, I must have... Yeah, I have a color filter on. There we go. I was like, these colors are not the same. How terrible. How terrible. Okay, and then I want this to be curving kind of towards us a little bit more as we get over here, with maybe a little something. How do I draw this? You know, that's a good question. Let's see. Curtains, you're in the way. It is curtains for the curtains. Okay. And then I think it just kind of gets a little bit bigger through here. Something like that, and that's fine for now. I'll just go ahead and leave it like that. Yeah, now her hand is no longer on things, but you know, that's fine. I will have to move it. It's a little bit sad, but I can make it work. Okay. So that's gonna be the first thing that I need to fix. And then, let's see. I think it'll make everything about the pose make a little bit more sense, though. Right now, what I'm debating about in my head is whether or not I want to change her waist. I kind of like the angles that she's standing at, though. So, you know what? Let's just do a little bit of science and see if I like it. Okay, so I'm gonna lock the layers that I don't want to move. That's gonna also be like the front sleeve and stuff. Okay, that should be good. At some point, I was thinking about moving this braid because I kept mistaking it for part of the floor here. But, you know, with the changes, I might not actually have to, and that'd be pretty nice. Oh yeah, where's the wings? I don't want to move those too much. Actually, maybe I do. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, so do I just want to kind of straighten her midsection a little? Please show me what it looks like, Krita. There we go. Like I said, it's kind of a stable composition. So I think this actually makes a bit of sense. To just very slightly rotate her up. Okay, yeah, I think I like this. And then I'll fill in the gap on her dress when the time comes. It doesn't have to be now. Okay. And I'm gonna hide her braids for a second here. Because now I need to get her hand onto the railing. Let's see, so I want this. And I want this. So I'm just going to move her sleeve on up there. I'll move the hand afterward. Okay, and then the hand I think is just kind of sitting on the body layer here. So we'll plop it on the railing here, and I can even make it a little bit bigger without fear. And get it a little bit more proportionate with her face here. Let me just compare. There we go. And in that case, I might make the sleeve just a little bit bigger too, since I'm making the perspective just a little bit less strong. Oh yeah, where's the underdress here? Because I want this, and I want this. I'll just pull it down just a little bit here, and pull this out just a little bit here. Make it just a little bit less perspective-y. Sounds good to me. Okay, and I think I want it covering her hand a bit more, so I'm gonna pull it over here. Which does mean that the elbow will be coming over just a little. Okay, how do I feel about this pose? Let me go turn my lights back on. It's a little easier to see with all the lights. Even if they're wrong. Okay, and... Man, it got a frog in my throat there. Okay, let's see how it looked beforehand. So it's like this. I can't turn the other layers back on, which is a little unfortunate, but you know what? It's fine. Versus... this. It's always nice when I actually can do a before and after comparison here. Okay, I think overall I like it, but I do want to make her body a little bit more angled. Just a little. So I'll lock these again. And I will just grab things. I'm gonna hide my lights for now. And I'll just try to grab through the holes that I already created so I don't make more work for myself later. And I'm going to tilt her back just ever so slightly. Oh, I cut through the wings. Okay, let's make a better selection. Yeah, I gotta make sure I get those wings in there, because I want the wings to rotate with her body. Okay, so something like that should be okay. Just very, very slightly. I just pushed it a little bit too far. Just a little bit. Okay, there we go. And then once again, I have to move her hand just a little here. Then how do I feel about her size relative to everything else? No, I think all that is fine. This railing, just comparing it to the part that's near her, is, you know, it goes up to probably a little bit above her waist here, and Leia's a little bit short from what I remember. Not like teeny tiny, but still pretty short. So that seems pretty reasonable for a guardrail that you're supposed to be able to lean on a little. If anything, I could probably get away with making it a little bit taller if I wanted, but no, I think I like this. I think this is fine. Okay. So I'm just going to lift the hand just a little bit. Just to make sure it's actually sitting on there. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and I think that is doing a little bit better. Because, you know, now the railing has more presence, it is accurate, this looks like it's coming towards us instead of some weird abomination of perspective. Always a plus. You know, maybe someday I'll want to draw some weird abomination of perspective. Actually, I did do one for Inktober, where I did some, you know, very hastily drawn Escher stuff. But that's something else entirely. You actually have to be really good at perspective in order to draw stuff. I just kind of cheesed it. Got a reference. Okay, so let's see. How do I feel about the veil and everything else that I did last time? I'm gonna check it since I did do some rotations, and sometimes that can cause some distortion. And yeah, I do see a little bit of distortion just through there. But fortunately, these guys still look good. This guy still looks good. So yeah, it didn't get that broken up, so I'm happy. I will very much have to adjust some things. Just to make sure that everything is in place here. I just didn't want to be moving this around at the same time as everything else, because that can get tricky. So I'll just move it now. All is well. Okay. Yeah, so let's go fix that little bit that got just a little bit distorted. And then I think I can finally move on to the face as planned. I swear, whenever it looks like I'm about to get right into the fun things, it's... I see something and I'm like, no, I should be good and fix that first. I guess. But yeah, this looks super choppy now, and I would not be happy if I left that there. I'd be looking at it the whole time while drawing her eyes and various other things and be like, man, that looks terrible. You know, it's better just to fix it. Okay, a little bit right through here. I probably shouldn't be checking for distortion while this zoomed in, but well, here we are. Okay, this all seems fine. I did see a little spot that I missed right there, or is that just something from the extra translucency that I... Yeah, here we go. Alright, and then I want my white shadow color here because I see a spot that I missed on the translucent areas. Just the little lining that I put around the gold part. Oh, do I not use the same color? Perhaps I don't. Let me double check it then. Huh, fascinating. Okay. I'll take your word for it. I thought I used the same color on the clothes, but if I don't, that is interesting. That is unusual for me. Oh, I see. Yes, because that side had more pink. I did some stuff to blend it into the background a little bit. Okay, that makes more sense, actually. The mystery has been solved. Let us continue. Okay, I'm not going to do the bottom part yet. That will come once the shoulders are done. Oh yeah, I just see a few places where I didn't hit the shadows on the translucency, on the transparent layer quite right here. Because I made another layer where where the veil overlaps itself and therefore would be a little bit more opaque. And I did not put the shadows back after doing that. And it actually looks like I got rid of some of them while painting some stuff through here. Not just no good. I gotta put them back. I'm actually not sure how that happened. Okay, there we go. That should be good. Okay. And with that, I do believe that is all the things I want to fix. So I'm gonna get a bunch of stuff out of the way here and, you know, carry on. So this is wings, this is hair and stuff. The braids, I think, are slightly in the way here. Because next is going to be hair. But you know, it'll be a little different this time because I'm not drawing the braids yet. So there's not actually that much hair to draw. Always a bit of a relief, to be honest. Okay, and this thing I think I'll draw once I finish the rest of her head. I could probably do it either way, but I want to do her face, so I'm gonna do it later. Okay. And actually, this should probably go behind her head. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I actually think I got things looking pretty alright next time. I still think that hairstyle's kind of cute. I really do. Stretch. With my shoulder somewhat bothering me. I think I slept on it wrong at some point. I have found my arms locking up slightly more than usual, so need to do much stretching. Okay, stretching is good for you. But yeah, since I think things are mostly looking pretty good here, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of smooth things out here. And then I think I'm gonna plop in where I think the highlight should go. Just because I do think it helps me construct my shadows a little bit better. And I'll go from there. And I do want to keep all of this, you know, fairly gentle with the curves. It's like the opposite of what I'm doing with BB, where, you know, in BB, the curves are forbidden, but here, the curves are highly desired. Because it'll make everything just look nice and soft. Last night, I did some of I did a little bit of design work for the Phase Connect fan game I want to make. And it's been a while since I have looked at that. I've just had too many things, I swear. There are not enough hours in the day. Even out in space, there's just not enough time. It's terrible, I tell you. But yeah, I did some of the first little bit of dev work that I've done in a while. I still don't really have enough to actually get started. But I think I have hammered down the feeling. So, I don't actually remember how much I've talked about it, because I try to avoid talking about things that are still kind of not concrete and abstract in my brain. But basically, I have been thinking about a fan game there, and I planned on making it a tower defense game. I feel like tower defense games have kind of stagnated a bit, so I've been thinking really hard on how to actually develop it, but I have a very firm feeling down in my mind now. So I am a fan of Arknights, even if I can't play it anymore because I can't tolerate daily stuff. I still think it is a pretty well-designed tower defense game. As a game, very solid. It's just the other stuff. And, in that game, you are supposed to be like the genius commander, commanding your troops to victory. And they will listen to every little thing you said. And I don't think this suits the Phase girls at all. Like, I feel like their main selling point is being the Menhera agency. So, rather than this super controlled space, I guess, where, you know, you have complete control over when they use their skills, where their position is, what they do, I wanted to go for something a little bit more toward the auto-battler territory, and they do not care about what you want. And they will do what they want. And I just want to turn it into just raw chaos. I think that would suit them very well. So that's kind of the design goal there, whereas Arknights was very tactical. You're paying attention to every move you make. And every little piece matters. What does your hair look like again? Interrupting myself, but you know what? It's fine. Okay, I can do whatever I want. Yeah, every little move matters. This one is going to be more on the strategic end, where you set things up and kind of hope for the best. So it's more testing the setup rather than each little tactical decision. So it's going to be much higher level. And I think it'll be interesting. The other big source of inspiration at this point is going to be Copy Kitty. Like, Copy Kitty. Different game. Not tower defense adjacent at all. But when I think of just games where you do a bunch of ridiculous stuff and things get very chaotic, and after a while, you can't even see the screen anymore, it's Copy Kitty. If you haven't played that game, I think it's very worthwhile. It's a very fun game. You know, you're very much able to go out and just wreck everything, and it's beautiful. So that's where I'm going. I'm hoping to... I think at some point I just have to set aside specific days for specific projects, just to ensure that they get a little bit of progress done to them each week, and then, you know, a few days where maybe I... You know, flex days where I just kind of work on whatever I want, and if I'm just super strongly feeling something, I might skip and work on that thing. I don't think I have to force myself to work on something, but if I'm gonna try to juggle this many things, I gotta make sure that I actually make a little bit of progress on each one, so this way they stop. How should I say it? Stagnating, yes. Because, man, it has been a while since I've touched Phase Connect Tower Defense. That was something that I started on... I can't remember if it was last month or the month before. My sense of time is about as good as my sense of distance, and I do never know how far away things are, so there you go. So sometimes I very easily forget how long it has been. Because I got things I want to do. I have been making good progress on learning Godot, though. It's not the first time I've built something in it, which is helpful. So, I should be able to get some proof of concepts there, and what might happen is that the first thing I make probably will not be Phase Connect Tower Defense. It's probably going to be the factory game that I'm making with my husband. Because we've already got enough of that down, where I could absolutely make a proof of concept. I just need to get a little bit more comfortable with the engine. Okay. Well, the good news is that I feel like hair's going well. Been able to just kind of casually go around everything while barely thinking about it. You know, that's why I always say rendering time is good for chatting, because it is so brain dead. I just kind of go. And go and go. Feel like at this point most of the decisions have been made, so I just gotta finish it off, and it's a little time consuming, but very necessary. I think I want this strand to be a little bit thinner. The sizes of these strands are all a little bit samey. So, let's trim this one a bit. Oh yeah, there we go. Make them nice and thin, nice and skinny. That'll complement everything else just fine. Okay, and this one I want to take from the top. But there we go. With this, I should have most everything set up for me. Then it'll be time to just go through and clean up everything on the inside. And I can lock the layer and never fear painting outside the lines again. Okay. Yeah, seems good. I think I can be happy with that. Okay. So at some point I do want to add more loose strands. The art on her model is very strandy. That is definitely just a characteristics of the artist's style, but nonetheless, I do want to make sure that I have some of this stuff there. Oh, and I totally missed this big ol' bang coming out there, because I get the impression that while her hair, while she's fairly neat and clean looking, that her hair is supposed to be a little bit messy. Like it's messily tied into these big braids going down, so that this way she can keep her hair neat without having to try too hard. That's just kind of the impression that I get with the way that this hair wraps around her face here, this strand coming out here like this, and I don't know, just some of the loose strands getting in her face over here. I get the feeling her hair is supposed to be a little bit messy. And I want to keep that impression. Oh yeah, that's right. That's why I didn't do that. Okay, I gotta have the veil on for that then. Gotta make sure it stays inside there. Okay. But there we go. I think that's... I just kind of want to clean up the tip a little bit. Get it to be the thickness that I want. I want it to have just a touch more presence. And while I'm on that note, behold, presence. Okay. It's not in exactly the right spot, but it's close enough for now. It's not the kind of thing that I can get completely right until rendering time has happened. And then I just want to make sure this tapers off correctly, because right now, it's not working for me. There's like just a slight movement downward here, and it's wrong, and I don't like it. Okay. So I'm trying to get this part a little bit straighter. Or I guess, less straight and more actually correctly aligned. That's a better way to put it, I think. This part kind of goes from over here into this. There we go. That should do it. Okay. And then at some point I will put shadows from the veil on. Actually, I think now's the time for that. No, I want to do the highlights first. I want to do the highlights first. I just got to set up my layers for it. Okay. Alright, and I have to decide if I want them to be like super hot pink or not. You know what I think I'd rather do is I'm gonna make them my usual kind of yellowish adjacent color. And then I'm gonna have a little bit of a hot pink glow around them. Possibly some on the sides being a little bit more hot pink than this. This might be a little strong, but it's fine. I can change the color if I don't like it. Let's see, how do I want to handle the highlights here? Yeah, I kind of agree with this. So they'll be kind of down here. Do something, you know, kind of like this. And I think I still want a few, like, under the veil. I don't think I need any on the side hair. I think the side hair looks fine, and I think it's not quite turning correctly to make me want to put highlights there. So, I'll just go over like this, and like this. With maybe just a few around the roots, and maybe a little bit just right through here. Something like that. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Some of them will be kind of invisible under here, but, you know, that's okay. I can do that. And... okay, so now it is time to get the shadows on. I'll just make sure that they're all nice. And I just want everything under the veil to have a little bit more shadow to it. Not like here, this is too important. But a lot of this other stuff that's underneath, I think I will largely just keep in shadow. But this I want to keep like that. You can still kind of see it. And I think it would just be kind of a shame to cover that up. And I think some stuff back here I'm going to leave not completely shadowed too. Okay, how do I feel about the bangs? So this is when I just start placing everything, but so far, you know, I think it looks pretty alright. I'm gonna make this on the edge, I think, a little bit more strandy. Am I happy with my shadow placement here? I think I am, actually. Yeah, I think I am. Okay. So I'm gonna get a little bit of hair going into the shadows there, just because I always think this kind of thing looks really nice. Okay, yeah, I think that should be good. And I'm still gonna you know what? Yeah, I think I'm still gonna handle the loose strands later. I was considering doing some now, especially on this side, where everything is basically all in shadow anyway. But no, I think I will still do it later. I think I will. Let's get that side hair all done. Yeah, something like that, and then kind of paying attention to both light and which side of the hair I think we see. Something like that I think looks pretty good. And I should be able to add some lovely loose strands to all of this a little bit later. When the time comes. Okay, but I do want to make her bang look a little fluffier. Just a little. Right now it's a bit blunt there. And while her bangs look a little bit blunt, I think this is kind of overdoing it. So we'll add just a touch of fluffiness to them. Occasionally I'll go ahead and cut into what I drew before. Just to kind of vary things up a little. Because I don't really want this to look like a blunt bang. I don't think it suits her. But I think this suits her just fine. I'll even make some of the other spots that I drew earlier come out a little bit more. Just to kind of aid in making things a little bit more triangular. There we go. Okay. And there we go. I think I can clean this all up now. Okay, for that, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the veil. Actually, yeah, I kind of have to. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna fill in this area. I'm just gonna make all of this in shadow. Just because right now it just looks a little cut off and it's a little weird. So I'm not gonna worry about it. I kind of feel the same with over here. But this, I will keep like this. I will keep the detail on it, and I'm not just gonna flood it with shadows. Right around here is, I think, a reasonable place to start that. Okay, and let's see. Through here, I just want to make sure that nothing feels really random. Actually, you should be a little darker here. I just want to make sure that it doesn't feel like there's a bunch of random stuff going on. So anything that's like half filled in, I'm going to go ahead and just fully fill it in. Okay. Sounds good to me. No, you know what? No, this area should just be dark. This is fine, but this part I want to keep the details in. I do think that is important. I do. So here I'm gonna flood the area with a lot more shadows. Just generally a lot, and go from there. We'll have this little spot just separating the big hair vent from everything else. Okay. And I think that looks pretty good. Just messy. But it's okay. I'm almost to the point where I'm gonna clean that up. I just want to make sure that everything else is to my liking first. If this was a normal thing, I'd put some highlights right here. But, nah, this is sufficient for what I need here. The veil changes up the nature of the shadows and stuff. It does. It makes quite a big difference. So I'm trying to keep this area mostly dark. I just want some lighter spots through here. Just to make things look a little nicer. All right. Okay, I think this will look pretty good. I think I can trust what I drew. So I'm actually going to render it with the veil off. Just so I can see this part and this part a little bit more clearly. I think normally I would start with the bangs, just because I like to start out in front of the face. But this time I think I'm going to start with the areas underneath the veil. Just so I can, turn the veil back on sooner rather than later. So let's get all these nice and smooth now. It is time to go in to 200%. As I do whenever I'm doing these things. And I just want to start with the big hair event, because I feel like that is the most important area structurally. So I'm just going to get this whole thing nice and smooth. And it'll make it infinitely more clear what I should do elsewhere. And yeah, I do think I will keep a nice dark area next to the front bag here. And we'll just add a few strands here and there to kind of hint at what this shadow is doing. I think that's sufficient, though. It's all underneath things, so I don't want to spend too much time doing all that. And I'll do the same thing here, but again, it's kind of underneath the veil, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. Just enough that it's clear that this is hair. And that's good. Just that is plenty, I think. I've been making a point to read a bunch of short stories lately. As much as I want to finish the script for my comic, I kind of also like the idea of writing my own shorter stories. Or, possibly skits and stuff that I can perform on the channel. Sounds pretty cool. But even just beyond that, I do feel like for my desire, I'm making a comic. Yeah, I've talked about the comic a few times. It's the way I want to do it is I want to have the story written before I start illustrating it. Just because I found that, well, I should say less than I found, but I just feel like if I don't have it written beforehand, I'll get started and I'll write myself into a corner and I won't know where to go. And based on my current track record with trying to get this written, that would have been absolutely true. And I would have either had to reboot the story or leave it in a place that I was not entirely happy with. And that sounds like hell. So I've been trying to write it first. This is why I complain about writing all the time. I've been trying very hard. But art is hard, and, I don't know what I'm doing. So, yes. Yes, it's, very much not done yet. And before I publish it, I'm probably going to make myself a huge buffer, just because I am slow, and I don't trust myself to be able to update on a regular basis without having a massive buffer. I mean, it might just end up that, depending on how much other stuff I do, that I draw the whole thing before I even publish it. That sounds like me. But we'll see how it works out. So yeah, I've been, you know, reading a lot of stuff so I can maybe someday figure out how to do things. It's one of the things that I need to... I think I just need to pick days where I work on specific projects. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work with me wanting to make, you know, an art short like every couple of days, but I'll figure it out. I am starting to believe in my ability to make things happen again, so that's been feeling good. I've been in one of those states where I almost feel like a little egg, where I have lots of little things where I'm kind of starting and I'm learning about a lot of stuff and all that good stuff, but I don't necessarily have the skill level that I want in all this, and I don't necessarily know exactly what I should be doing. And that is incredibly frustrating. It's really hard to deal with sometimes. But I don't know. I'm starting to reach a point again where I feel like I can do stuff, so... Or, you know what? Even saying that I feel like I can do stuff is probably not entirely accurate, but rather that I know what direction I have to be moving in, and you know, that can make all the difference sometimes. The worst frustration for me has always been, I want to do something, but I don't know how, and I don't even know how to get started, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and I don't know why it's not working. Because then it's like, yeah, I kind of have a vision, but, like, what do? I can't even move towards it, and I just end up spinning my wheels and driving myself insane. It's terrible. But I think I am starting to move past that, so that's nice. Driving myself slightly less insane than usual, always a plus. But honestly, I think that some of what I'm talking about just kind of comes with the territory for my personality type. Where I just want to go. And then the world slows me down and I just get very mad at it. But it's okay. I kind of feel like I can make stuff happen again. And it's a nice feeling. I've kind of realized... actually, you know what? I think I can go into detail on this, but basically I lost my job before COVID in a particularly traumatic way. And it was kind of terrible. And it kind of... Or not after COVID, like the start of COVID. Because of COVID. And, oh man, it just left me in... I was a mess for a while. It's a whole thing. But I think the big thing that really got me there is that everybody talks about, you know, how you go out and you go to college and you get a job and then you have some amount of stability so you could start, you know, maybe spending the weekends worrying about some other stuff. And I just realized that this was very much not true. And that having a job was not actually going to offer me any kind of stability. Because, you know, for whatever reason, I don't have a problem with authority, but authority has a problem with me. It's been that way my entire life. Like, I had issues with certain teachers when I was in school. One of my college professors just absolutely hated my guts and did all kinds of terrible things, and you know, as much as she was able to, because I actually did complain to the administration once. She backed off, and I remember that I had some health issues there, and she thought I was lying, and that I came in just drugged out of my mind, asking for an extension on the midterm. And she believed me a little bit more after that, so at least she wasn't completely unreasonable. But, you know, this kind of thing, it happens all the time. And that's basically what lost me my job, too. Just, I got a new boss, and he decided he hated me. I'm still not quite sure why. And things went very bad, and I realized, you know what? If I'm gonna have to surrender myself to the RNG, even if I, you know, quote-unquote do everything right, get a solid job where I'm doing stuff, because, you know, I was in software development and stuff, and people try to claim that that's all well and good, and I just don't think it's true. That, you know what? Maybe I should actually try to do the things that I like instead, if I'm gonna have to surrender to the RNG. And thus, here I am. And for a while, that was driving me nuts, because I hate not having control over my life. I keep having these really funny, reoccurring dreams where I'm driving a car, but, it doesn't respond to my commands very well, and I just kind of end up sliding and skidding all over the place. The brakes only work half the time. Sometimes the steering wheel is in the ceiling or some other random place where I can't always see the road at the same time. And I think it's highly symbolic. it does very much summarize how I feel about my life sometimes. Can't control anything. So I'm trying something else. Let me surrender myself to the roulette and see what happens. But I'm gonna have to do it anyway. I was always really, really worried about embracing creative stuff and trying to do anything beyond, okay, I just want to be able to do kinda whatever I want at my own pace and not worry about anything. You know, that's why I got a stable job first. I still kept drawing and doing other things that I considered fun. But, I don't know, man. I hate how RNG, YouTube, and streaming feels sometimes. But, frankly, I think the quote-unquote stable job is just as RNG at this point. Especially given my track record for people in positions of authority just randomly deciding they hate me for some reason. The downside, of course, being that I, for a while, and still to an extent, kind of feel that way, that I don't have much control over my life, and sometimes that makes it hard to effort. And then I get into a severe state of sadness and melancholy, because I like efforting. I like trying really hard. I've always been the type where, even if I don't think something will work, I kind of try to put my best effort into it. I try everything that I can. Because then at the end, if it doesn't work, I'll be like, okay, I did my best. There was nothing more I could do. Well, thank you very much. I don't think I'm an unlikable person. I think... I mean, I have theories. I describe it as random, but it's always a specific personality type. And if I'm being honest, I think it's because I don't treat people in authority like they're above me. Like, I'll listen to them. I will. It's not like I was defiant or refused to do my job or anything like that. But if I think they're wrong, then, you know, I'm not gonna be sycophantic and pretend like they're not wrong. Or, I'm trying to think of the moment I remember moving to the new team. I moved from the QA team to the Salesforce team. And so I was developing stuff for data analytics at that point. And so I got a new boss. And I remember the moment that I set him off, or the moment that I noticed the difference. And it was when, yeah, I need to find, like, a list of things you can do in Salesforce. Just their basic pre-built classes and whatnot. And I didn't know how to describe it to somebody that wasn't a developer, because my boss was not a developer. He was a analyst. And so I said, don't worry about it. I'll go find it. You don't need to help me. And then, you know, one other guy on my team sent me something, and I'm like, nah, that's not what I'm looking for. But like I said, don't worry about it. I'll go find it. And this made him very mad, because he thought that I was talking about the resources that he initially sent me, which, you know, were actually pretty helpful. But it wasn't. So he just got mad that I was apparently knocking his efforts or something. Or that I wasn't treating him like the boss who knew everything, and I guess you could say I think he thought that I was undermining his authority, and he didn't like that. That's the best way I can describe it, because, you know, I can't see into his head, right? But it's always been stuff like this. I remember my college teacher. She didn't like me beforehand. I'm not exactly sure when she started disliking me, but I could just tell. And I went to go ask her for help in a project once. And she pointed out some things, and I was like, cool, okay, I'll go fix that, you know, later. And then I asked her some more questions. And this pissed her off. Because once again, you know, it's like, to me, I was like, yeah, obviously I can't fix it right now. I'm not going to waste your time fixing my buggy code in your office. I'm going to do it at home. And I'm just going to ask all the questions I have here. But for whatever reason, that seemed to make her feel like I was, like, not listening to her or something. And it was all very strange. And it all culminated in her saying, like, the most ridiculous thing I had ever heard in my life. Because I solved the previous project. This is probably getting too much into code talk, but I used a particular thing that I knew. For people that know code, it's regular expressions. My native language is Perl, and I was learning C# in school. So, you know, me knowing Perl well, I knew a lot about regular expressions, and I was really, really good at parsing text, because that's what Perl does very well. And that's how I solved the previous assignment she gave, and she didn't like that, because that's not how I was supposed to do it. But I did everything right, and when I went to go ask her about for a little bit of help on this other project, I just mentioned that I liked Perl because I found it very friendly and easy to use. It's like, of course I do. It was the first programming language I learned. You never really forget your native language, so to speak. And she got very mad and started saying that C# was going to replace all other programming languages, and that there was no point in learning other programming languages because C# was, going to rule the world, basically. And that was so patently absurd that I didn't even know how to respond to it. I don't think you even need to know anything about programming to know how absurd that is. I mean, just look how many programming languages are out there. This was before the rise of Python, for example, but pretty much everybody says to start with Python. And, you know, just stuff like that. But I could go into detail on just how ridiculously stupid that was, but it would get into programming stuff. And I just did not know how to respond to that. But I'm not sure if she realized how silly it was, or if I had just, I don't know, bothered her in some other way. But frankly, I don't get these people. I know, right? Like I said, this was before the rise of Python. Like, I'm pretty sure it was a thing then, but it wasn't as popular as it was now, but yeah, I don't know, man. And sometimes they just get silly ideas in their head, and I remember in high school I had a geography teacher that didn't like that I didn't take notes in his class. Because I didn't take notes for any class, because I just liked to sit and listen, and then I'd go home and read over other study materials. Taking manual notes myself, I found made me worse. That's basically what I did. Yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like I make people with certain personalities that are prone to getting into positions of power insecure somehow, and I don't understand. I don't do it on purpose. So I don't really understand, but it leaves me very concerned about leaving my fate in their hands. So I'm gonna be an artist now. It never worked for me. I always did so much better when I just sat and paid attention in class. And did not distract myself with note-taking. I wouldn't say I forget, but I just didn't retain the information as much, because sometimes I'd be in the middle of writing something, and I find it hard to write and listen at the same time. Yeah, in my case, I just couldn't write. I struggled to write and listen at the same time, because I'd have the words that I was trying to write down, and then I couldn't hear the words that were being said anymore. So I just always preferred to study on my own later, as opposed to taking notes in class. I did not like taking notes in class. And this bothered people sometimes. And I think he was especially annoyed that I did well in his class, because I knew how I learned. So I was very consistently having good grades in his class. And I think that bothered him. Which is weird coming from a teacher, but I think some part of him wanted me to do poorly so that this way he could lecture me on how to take notes in class. But as long as I was doing well, then, you know, he couldn't really do that. But yeah, it's always the people that I seem to bother are just always the people that seem to want things done a particular way, and then I don't do it like that. Or that want to feel really important, and then I don't make them feel important or something. That's the best I've been able to make sense of it. Unfortunately, a lot of those people just end up wanting positions of authority because that makes people listen to them. And thus I have problems. So I've kind of accepted that I am going to have to just throw my life into the roulette no matter what I do. and see where it spits me out and whether I get something good or something bad. So if I'm gonna do that, if I'm gonna have to embrace instability, well, I want to do it on my terms. And I'm actually kind of at peace with that now. I will still probably have my reoccurring nightmares about not being able to control the car. I mean, it tends to be how it is. It's alright, get enough +1s, and it'll lead to a lot. The important thing is being a little bit better than yesterday. I don't think I want this one to be that long. I think I want this one to be short. I used to get really frustrated with a lot of things, especially when it came to content creation. But you know, I'm figuring it out. And I think that the biggest thing is, you know, there are some things I can control. You know, increasingly I'm seeing life like this. You're gambling. And it's really unfair, and the best you can do, you can't stop. You can't stop the RNG, you can't stop the gambling. But you can sure as hell try to rig things in your favor. So you just gotta do your best to cheat. So I guess in a lot of ways, you could say that I'm kinda done trying to play by the rules. The rules are a lie anyway, it's fine. Don't listen to boomers, kids! I'm aware of the irony of that statement, but I'll take it. I think it's good advice, okay? Don't listen to me either. Just casually take what they say. Think about it critically. And then maybe you'll be one step closer to the truth. I mean, it's the only way to get anywhere. So that's okay. I'll just keep trying to rig things in my favor. And, you know, that makes it much easier for me to try hard. Because then my try-harding feels like it actually does something. That's okay. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I am just an anime girl on the internet. I am a digital street performer. I'm not trying to influence people. I'm just here to make nice things and draw. Probably more than draw. I'd like to do some programming too. But, yes. Digital street performer. That's how I've always thought of myself. I am happy. My art is great. It's gotten so much better in the past year. Like, it's incredible. But I'm also an artist, which by default means I'm a little bit crazy. So it kind of is what it is. It just sometimes I'm going to randomly feel the melancholy. And that's another thing. I have just accepted that the melancholy will always be part of my heart, and it's never gonna go away. And sometimes I'll be more mad at things and more melancholic about things than other days. And that's fine. I am one with the melancholy. For a while, I tried to get rid of it, and then I just realized it's never gonna happen. And I'm actually okay with this. Like, part of me kind of wishes it would go away. I think my life would be easier in some ways if it did. But, it's just not. And that's just how it is. And that's fine. It's just something I'm always gonna have to work around. On the bright side, depending... once I get over the melancholy period, I generally get really mad, and that makes it really motivating to actually do more stuff. So there you go. It at least balances out a little bit. So I do think I can at least... Well, I don't think I can say make it work for me, but... It's not the worst. I can deal with it. That's probably a good way to put it. I can deal with it. Yeah, sure, I'll finish smoothing out the bangs before I get the cast shadow from this. It's funny, I thought really long and hard, actually. This is relevant. And I do differentiate the melancholy from the depression. These are not the same thing. They're different. They do both involve just a deep sadness, but it's different. The melancholy is easier to deal with. It doesn't have bodily effects. Alright, whereas depression will absolutely affect your physical body. Yeah, I want this to go all the way up. And I thought for a pretty long time on how I wanted it to get rid of the melancholy and what it would do and how to actually go about doing that. And I did find a solution. I did. I could absolutely do it if I decided I wanted to. But what I found is that the only way to get rid of that, and it's fine if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's probably a good thing if you don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, the only way that I think I could get rid of the melancholy is basically to get rid of every emotion I have. And I decided I didn't want to do that. It made it a lot easier to deal with afterward, because I just kind of realized it kind of came with the territory. And that's fine. So it's like I could get rid of some of that of just arbitrary sad, but it would also mean getting rid of all the happy and the curiousness and, you know, probably even that anger that kind of propels me forward sometimes. And all of these things, and it just wasn't worth it. That's kind of when I started really developing the philosophy that I don't think life should be lived avoiding bad feelings. No, embrace the melancholy, embrace all these things that make you feel bad sometimes. It's okay. It's better than the alternative. Because feeling nothing is awful. And this is kind of where I have a personal beef with Buddhism, where a lot of their end philosophy is about, oh yeah, the how to achieve enlightenment is basically to kill your sense of joy and everything else, all the negative emotions and the positive emotions. And no, I'm not exaggerating in the slightest, by the way. This is actually what Buddha taught. This isn't me misunderstanding it. This is what Buddha suggested. It's really, really clear in the... I believe it's like the story of the two arrows? where a lot of people interpret it as, yeah, the first arrow that hurts you causes an injury. But then, the second arrow is how we treat it. How we feel about it. And that could also cause cause injury. And yes, exactly. So this is why I say I have a beef with Buddhist philosophy. I think they're very wrong. I say this because a lot of mindfulness stuff is becoming popular. And to be fair, I do think Buddhism has a lot of good ideas. It's just the final goal of what enlightenment is I just think a terrible way to live. Because, the big thing there is ending the cycle of karmas, ending the samsara, and all of that stuff, and what it basically means to me, as somebody who is most decidedly not in this religion. So, it's just what I said before. Don't listen to boomers. That includes me. I'm not actually a boomer. I'm not quite that old. Or more accurately, I'm way older than that because I'm 14 billion years old, right? But, whereas to me, I'm just like, no, spread all your karmas everywhere. Put them out in every corner of the world. Be immortal. It'll be fantastic. May your ideas live on for all eternity. May where you touched the world show. May your presence in the world be clear. And that's just personally how I see things. So there you go. That's why I'm creating art instead of programming right now. And I'm probably going to do some programming still, because I think that there's lots of cool things I can do with it. But look, I just want to spread my ideas everywhere. And I want people to embrace suffering, because I think it's the best way to live. I'm not even trying to be edgy when I say that. I literally think it is the way to go. Don't run away from the bad things. Don't worry. There might be some good stuff on the other side. Just, make sure it's worth it. Don't suffer pointlessly. And don't listen to other people. They're stupid. Everyone is just as clueless as everyone else, but... Or, I shouldn't say it like that. I think it's worth hearing them. I think it's worth thinking about what people say. But you have to draw your own conclusion. Who cares about politics? Politics has never been about discussing ideas. That's why I want to learn how to write fiction. Because fiction is where you can talk about ideas. I mean, you would think that the place where you talk about how the world should be run would be a good place to talk about ideas, but it's not. It's not. Nobody listens to anybody when you talk about politics. So don't do it. It's a waste of time. I have some pixel dirt on the veil, apparently. Time is precious. Time is very precious. So, don't waste it trying to live up to some moral purity test. It's not worth it. Trust me, if people are going for moral purity tests on you, they've probably already decided that they dislike you, and no matter what you say, they'll find some way to make it evil. I still remember I had a falling out with a friend a really long time ago, and it was never enough to just say, hey, I don't want to be friends anymore. I had to be evil, and she became like wholly convinced that because I identify as Catholic, that I hate gay people. For the record, I am bisexual. I am not straight. So that was an interesting conversation. Oh yeah, I mean, if people are already doing that, they probably already don't like you, so don't worry about it. That's why it's like, you know, just do your thing. Don't waste time. Yeah, I mean, if they've already made up their mind, then, you know, there's not a lot you can say to that. It's fine. So, you know, don't bother. I have weaponized my apathy. It is beautiful. I think it's a good way to be. For a while, I have tried to put things into two buckets. I either care about it or I don't. And this isn't based on what other people think. This is strictly based on what I think. And if I put it in the don't care about it bucket, it's like going down to 0%. And I basically do not let it enter my mind. Or at least I try not to. Sometimes I fail. It's not like I never get caught in thought loops. Like, it's fine. It happens. Actually, I don't think I want this one going all the way up. I don't think you necessarily have to figure out your sexuality. I don't think there's much to figure out. You'll eventually find a person and be like, oh, do I like this person or do I not? It'll come to you, whether you like it or not. And then it'll all make sense. For me, it's kind of like finding an art style. It'll come right to you. As long as you keep an open mind and don't try to suppress the things you want. There we go. That looks pretty nice. This one, I think I want to come off all the way to the edge. Yes. Let us separate that hair nicely. And I do mean it like that. Like, I make a point to try to look at the world as it is and not like how I think it should be, how other people tell me that it is, or any of this other stuff. And I think it's a good way to be. You know, just look at things with both eyes open. Try not to put the thoughts into the background because, you know, once you're on autopilot, you can forget a lot of important things. I lived on autopilot for a while. I don't recommend it. So it's worth thinking about just about everything, in my opinion. Everything can be analyzed. But just, I forgot where I was going with that, but Yeah, I totally forgot. Oh well. I'm sure if it's important, it'll come back into my head. Trying to do multiple things at once. Maybe not always the best, but it's fine. Okay, on the bright side, hair's almost done. And then I can get into face before the end here. Oh yeah, it's always rough. But there's a reason. There's a reason that happened, right? So it's not necessarily a case of something going wrong. It's you're doing what you got to do in order to protect yourself, because I mean you still have to go to school. Like there's not much you can do about that. Not that part, not but there, you know, it's throwing yourself to the RNG. You can try to do things to rig life in your favor. So there are still things you can do if you want to. That's the important part. Just, you know, if you want to. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Let's turn the highlights on. Try to get those all good. Okay, let's see here. I like the location of the general gist here, so I think I'm just gonna clean up what I got. I get the feeling that at some point this is gonna become the Planckera rambles about philosophy channel, and maybe sometimes art. Probably more art than philosophy. There's only so much I can say, but genuinely, if I can convince people to not be afraid of the negative emotions and just go do things even if it's hard or painful, if it's what you actually want to do, like make sure that it's actually what you want to do, don't suffer for no reason, very important caveat, then, you know, I think that would be a great thing, and it would make all of the screaming I do at YouTube sometimes totally worth it. So, because it did take me a while to... Oh yeah, that's right, I still have to do the shadows cast from that thing. Let's do that before I forget again. Because genuinely, it did take me a while to figure out that I was never going to get rid of the melancholy, and that was fine. Like it was an actively good way to be. Oh no, I will never be someone's therapist. Trust me, people have tried to drama dump on me in the channel. It happened one time, and I said never again. It's okay to talk about negative things, but I don't need the details. Thanks. So, that will never happen again, and I'm never going to be the therapist. I can't do it. I will die. And if things start veering too close in that direction, I just gotta shut it down. But I do like talking about what I think is important. You see, I don't want to be a therapist. I want to be a cult leader. I just want people to adopt ideas I think are cool. There we go. Let's get those shadows on there, and then, you know, in some of these, I think I'm gonna add little strandy textures. Not on all of them, though. Just in a few spots. Just because I always think that this kind of thing looks really nice. But you can see, they're little. They're tiny. Good, I hope so. May I help you all touch divinity or something? It'll be great. Okay. Alright, and it looks like I might need a few shadows over on the veil itself that I did not do properly, so let's get that. I don't think I picked a shadow color for the backside, actually. Alrighty, let's get these guys shadowed. Actually, you know, on the subject of all that, I'm actually kind of happy that I'm reaching the point where I feel like I can actually talk about things, because that wasn't the case for a while. Like, if we're talking about me having to overcome my own problems, talking about things has actually been kind of a thing. I tend to be very, very anxious about these things, so the fact that I'm here and able to do this now is a sign of, you know, my own personal growth, so there you go. And even sometimes now I still kind of feel like I want to throw up, but you know, that's okay. Like I said, embrace the pain occasionally. It's healthy. But no, I do want to talk about these things. I think it's interesting, and I want to make a point of bringing it out more. Maybe someday you'll even get me to talk about myself more often. I did it a lot today, and it was hard. Look, can you imagine what it's like trying to be a streamer when you don't really want that much attention? When you don't really want people to perceive you? It's death. But, I need... The way I see it, ideas have their own sort of evolution. Just like living organisms do. The ones that are able to propagate themselves are the ones that continue to live. So, you know, if I want my ideas to live, I have to make sure that they propagate themselves. I have to spread them. Like a virus. Infect the whole world. And, yes, I would very much like to do that. So, this means that, no, I can't say that I shouldn't be afraid. First off, a shouldn't has, bad connotations, but, you know, as I've been saying, it's fine to be afraid. Just do it anyway. So here you go. I hope my pain has been helpful to you today. I'm always afraid of being too preachy, but I don't know, man. I want I want people to be able to go out and do the thing. Go do all the things. It'll be great, I promise. Maybe it'll suck sometimes, but it'll still be great. It'll be okay. Oh yeah, that's where I was going with that earlier. Where, you know, one of the big things that I actually would like people to feel when they come to my stream is that everything will be okay. And I don't think that you can do that. Not for real. If you're living under a delusion. If I'm just, you know, saying that everything is positive and great and wonderful. No! That's delusional! But I hope that, you know, by actually looking at the world for what it is. And, not just trying to make these false claims that are just blatantly not true. That, you know, maybe people really can feel like everything will be okay. Or, you know, maybe some of these bad things are happening. And we can look at them with both eyes open. And not run away. Or try to pretend like it's not happening. And that everything will still be okay. I think maybe a little bit of delusion is healthy. But I don't think it'll make you feel better. And I don't think it'll convince anyone that everything will be okay. And look, while saying all that, the hair's almost done. I'm gonna have to take the veil off for a little bit here. Because I do want some highlights under it. Normally, I actually wouldn't do that. But I think it actually will look pretty cool in this instance. So I'm just gonna plop it in like this. And there we go. Just gonna clean up these shapes a little bit, and then I think it'll be great. These ones I'm gonna leave a little bit smaller than the others, though. Just because they are under things. So I don't want to go quite as hard on them. I actually left that pretty messy. Is that okay? No, it isn't. Okay. Let's clean it up. See, no delusion allowed here. I'm not gonna pretend like that looked fine. It does not look fine. And that's why I'm gonna go back and fix it. I would like to be immortal too. Yes. I am working on it. Because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to be perceived to be immortal. I just want my ideas to live on. And then I really feel like I will be immortal. Whether or not they know my name, may my works live on in their heart. Oops, wrong layer. Okay. So now all that's cleaned and it looks so much better. And I am much happier. Let's grab these guys. Once again, you know, these ones are underneath, so they're gonna be smaller, but I still would like them to be there. Actually, I don't like the way that one looks. I want it to be a little bit more separated from all of this. I think you can kind of figure... I mean, let me back up here. At 12, you don't have very much control over your life. I will fully acknowledge that reality, because that is true. A lot of things are kind of decided for you. But you don't have zero control over your life. And there are things that you can do. And there are things that you can figure out, even at 12. And I think it is worth thinking about if you decide you want to. So that'll be things like, you know, what's worth investing your current time in? Like, what do you like to do? And then, you know, what would you like to get good at? Because you can start building skills at 12. You can. Or, you know, at some point you're probably going to have to get a job. Or, you know, maybe a more accurate way to put it, you're going to need a way to make money. And you can start figuring out what would be a tolerable way to make money and start building your skills in that direction. And if you don't know what to do, well, we have these fancy things called job listings out there. And you can go look at what your dream job would be, or something adjacent to it, and learn what kind of skills you need. And then you can start building them. And if you still have no idea, well, you know, just try lots of different things. Yeah. Music is a fairly solid thing. That's something that you could potentially get good at. Even if you can't play the guitar like you want, there are things that you can learn about music. And if you are struggling to find other things that you would like to do and like to pursue, well, that's where you can try lots of different things. That's where you do the science, right? Just like I'm here, you know, trying things stylistically a lot. Occasionally I do run into things that I don't like, and I don't do them again. So, you know, you can go out and try things too, to an extent. At your age, you're somewhat limited, of course. But there are things that can be done. My personal recommendation is always embracing the existential dread and learning about space. It'll really give you perspective on your place in the universe. And space is just one of those things that is beautiful and terrifying. Oh, very nice. I think that's a very fun skill to have. I'd like to learn how to sing someday, too, I think. So, I mean, it already sounds like you're doing the right thing to me. Don't worry, life is hard. None of us really know what we're doing. All we can really do is our best. Yeah, very nice. Definitely keep it up. And you know that the nice thing is, just with the way the human brain works, is that any skill you pick up will help you with every other skill that you want to develop in the future. Because the way the brain learns is about connections. It's about forming connections between things. So anything you learn will help you. So that'll also include that anything that you decide to experiment with will probably help your singing. So, you know, don't be afraid to try things. I feel like that's what childhood is all about. It's about trying things. And some things will stick, and some things won't. Like, I used to play chess a lot when I was younger. I don't really play chess anymore. And I don't really have much desire to. But I'm so glad I did it. I do think it helped me a lot in a lot of different things. And unironically, I think it helped my art a lot too. And it certainly helped a lot of the things that I decided to keep doing. Ah! Oh yeah. Don't worry, I'm not telling you to stop doing school. Oh yeah, ranked chess is extremely hardcore. I had a great time. I'm so glad I did it. Don't worry, Meep. No judgment on what you're doing. I've already said. It sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things. I think you're doing a good job. Okay, I think hair looks good. So let's make it shine. This time I'm going to do something a little special that I don't normally do. I'm going to do a little bit of science and see how I feel about it. There's always room for science in my universe. Alright, I'm going to make this hot pink. Alright. Time to bring it on. I want it to be even brighter than that. There we go. That is like a super hot pink, and I approve. So now let's incorporate it to everything else and see if this looks good. Ooh. Yeah, I dig it. I think I want it under the basic one, though. Yes. Oh, that's nice. Okay, I like this a lot. I like this a lot. All right. But now I can finally start drawing the cute face. So let's see, where did I put the glasses? I'm gonna take off the glasses, and actually I need to check something. Are your eyes a little bit too high up? I think they are, actually. I hope this doesn't end up being a problem, but I'm gonna put them just a little bit lower here. And I think in particular, I need to move this one just a little bit lower. Okay, no, I don't want to move it any lower than that, so I'll move this one a little bit higher. Okay, I feel like that's sitting on her head a little bit better. Her side of her face is feeling a little bit fat. I think that's just because there needs to be an ear visible. Let me see here. I hate drawing ears, so I generally avoid doing it if I can, but I think it's probably necessary here. Yeah, that's not sized correctly, but I do think it'll help. So I'm gonna put it like... Let's see, even with the nose and kinda over here. And then what I want to do is there's like... this isn't smoothed yet, so I'm just gonna kind of cut into it. I want this bit of hair to go above it. Yeah, and then this bit of hair to be behind it. I do think that looks a little bit better. So now let's adjust the size of her jawline a little bit. And I think it's fine for this hair to be kind of going out. It might need to move a little bit to the right, which is a little bit unfortunate to realize right now, but... Oh yeah, and I was also going to do strands, but you know what? No, I want to do the face. So I'm going to do the face. Accurate, though. I do think I need to move the hair a little bit to the right. Alas, it's okay. It's better than leaving it ugly. Or what am I talking about? It's left, not right. Dyslexia strikes again, and I also cut the wrong spot. Okay. Yeah, her face just looked a little bit too fat there. Okay, there we go. That looks better. And now I can move the ear back to roughly where I think it should go. Oh, now it's covered up. Okay, well, there we go. We found my motive for wanting to move the hair over. Now I don't have to draw an ear. You know what? I'll take it. One of the best parts about anime. I can skip the ears. A lot of the time. It's great. I think her ear is probably like somewhere here. Or... yeah, it was somewhere up there. So that does mean I need to change the angle of her jaw a little bit here. I should probably get it with the hair off, just to make sure I get it right. And I'll shape her cheeks a little bit. She does have a very squishy little face. So I'll make sure everything is nice and squishy and cute. She is a cute grandma. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. I mean, it's incomplete, but you know what? She doesn't need this. It's fine. It's covered by hair. All is well. And yeah, that looks a lot better. You'd think that I'd figure these things out sooner, but I never do. I never do. You know, it's just like what I was saying. None of us really know what we're doing. It's fine. I figure it out eventually. So I'll go ahead and smooth out the shape of her head here. And... there we go. Let's see, I'm going to take off the veil just because that color is... oh no, I don't need to take off the veil. I need to hide the back of the veil. Okay. Just because I felt like that color was a little bit light. And this is a little bit easier to see. I'll make sure she has nice, cute, puffy cheeks. And that everything is very round. Very, very Let's see. I'm gonna hide the hair and her eyes really quick, just so I can see a little bit better for this little spot. You know, when you're at this angle, there's a little dent in your cheek where the eye socket is. You can feel it in your face. You just run your fingers over it. And I want to make sure that that is expressed very nicely, because that does a very good job of showing the angle of the head. And there we go. Like I said, I gotta make sure she has cute puffy cheeks. Gotta make sure there's a nice smile. I think I might actually have her cheekbones a little bit too high, so let's bring those down just a little bit here. Just a little bit. Man. Someday, the lingering effects of that illness I had for a little bit, it's gonna go away. I swear. But it just does not want to let go. Okay. How's that? Maybe a little bit too puffy. Yeah, probably a little bit too puffy. I think this will be easier to liquefy. It will make it blurry, so I'll have to fix it afterward, but I want to get it into place here, where I think it looks good. Because right now I don't think it does. Let's see. I'm gonna get her mouth and nose. I think that'll help. I'll leave it black while I'm kinda just cleaning it up. And I'll change its color in a little bit here. But I think this will help me place things. Because, you know, right now they're messy and ambiguous. So I just gotta clarify them. And I just want the smile to be nice and gentle, not too big, not too small. Right now the corners are a little bit strong, so I'm actually gonna make them a little bit smaller here. And I don't think it's just the color. Like I said, it's supposed to be a very gentle smile. So I just don't want them to be that big. That's all. I do like making the corners of my mouth a little bit thicker than the rest. I think it looks nice. But I do think that having it closer to the same size as everything else will make everything look a little bit more gentle. There we go. Okay, that's not perfect yet, but I think it's starting to look a lot better. I always like to spend a little bit of extra time on everything on the face. I think it always helps. Time spent on the face is definitely not wasted. Just because the face is the most important part. Okay. Oh. I don't know why Krita thought I double-clicked there, but no, I only wanted to click once to send everything back to its original direction. Okay, and now I can more clearly see where my problems are. I think her nose and mouth are a little bit far apart, and that mouth is huge. small, tiny, a gentle smile. There we go. Much cuter. So yeah, her face is just really long. So I want the mouth to be kind of down here. Actually, I'll do it relative to the cheek there. And then I'll adjust the chin afterward. Okay, and I think I want the nose a little bit higher up on this too. So now we got a massive chin and it looks very silly. Okay, I think I just gotta look quiet. I was trying to avoid it, but no. Just go back. There we go. What it is, what it is. There we go. We'll make her cuter now. And it's amazing what a little proportion fixing will do for you. This does mean I'm gonna have to fix where it sits on, like, her neck and all that. I'm probably gonna have to fix a lot of things, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish I noticed this. You know, I'm starting to realize, on the subject of me speeding up my art process, since that is one of my big goals for this year, is maybe I should clarify the nose and the mouth before I do the hair. Because it does seem to help me do proportions. So I'm going to note that down. I'm actually going to think about that. And think about how I can make some of this better for myself. Because I feel like this happens a lot. I do. I feel like it happens a lot, and I kind of hate it. So that is worth paying attention to. Okay, I have the mouth a little bit off center, I think. I think the nose is okay, but I think I need the mouth to be a little bit further over. Man, that looks so much better. I swear she also looks like 10 years younger, but that's fine. Let's see, I'm gonna make her eyes just a little bit smaller. Hello there, Polarantine. Welcome back. Just a touch smaller. That's a cute face. That's an adorable face. I think I'd be happy if I had someone look at me like that, so I think I'm on the right track here. Let's actually attach her head to her neck, though. Now her head is a little bit small. Unfortunate. I don't want to make her body smaller, so I'm gonna have to risk making things blurry here. It is what it is. Hopefully I don't have to make it too much bigger in order to have her head sitting on her shoulders well. Oh god, I really do have to make it quite a bit bigger, don't I? Pain. Oh well, it's worth it. Is that good? Is that where I want things to be? I'm gonna turn on my hidden layers here. How do I feel about this? Maybe I'm not gonna get as deep into face as I want to today, but I'll do my best. I'm gonna go ahead and color the nose. I'll do the mouth in a little bit. Mouth can stay black a little longer. Okay, no, this seems okay. then I just need to zoom in and make sure that nothing's blurry. That's my big fear right now, the fact that I had to make things bigger. That does tend to make things a little bit blurry. But first, I want to make sure I'm satisfied with how it's sitting on her shoulders. And dang nabbit, I want to do eyes today, so I'm gonna do eyes. This feels a little bit blurry, but these feel okay. Yeah. I know, that's why we call her Gramma. I am wondering how many people every time I call her Grandma just think I'm being rude. But, no, literally, she calls herself Grandma. But we don't call me Grandma, because at 14 billion years old, I'm too old to be any of your grandmas. I am simply Planckera, a digital street performer. Well, she says she's a divine human, which is slightly different from human, apparently. I'm not sure how that works. They haven't revealed that bit of lore. But apparently it is slightly different. The big thing being that the divine humans live a bit longer. Which is why she's 53 and still looks like a baby. Okay, there we go. That looks better. I'll go ahead and touch up these guys too. Yes. I have not watched much Ava, but I have watched quite a lot of Katya. I do plan to watch a little bit more Ava at some point, though. Just haven't had a chance. But Katya is very entertaining. Okay. There we go. I think I could be happy with that. And yeah, there we go. I have to realize that I have a terrible habit of drawing the faces very long. So I gotta squish them a little bit. So yeah, you know what? I think from now on, I might try to do the nose before that. I have heard that she streams at about the same time that I do. Yes. But I mean, this is when I have time to stream, so... It is what it is. And I am traditionally a VOD watcher. So, the time they stream doesn't matter that much to me. Because you know, someday I really should show up live and actually try to interact, but the thought of doing so just makes me want to puke. I am highly anxious in that regard, so I haven't, and I just quietly watch VODs. It's okay. I hope that they enjoy my art. Even if they are never familiar with my name, I do hope that they enjoy whatever art that I make. Incidentally, Katya is going to be the next one I draw. It should leave me enough time to draw a nice picture for Ava's birthday. Even if I move at a snail's pace. Okay, and actually I think I want the nose to be slightly darker than that. Maybe a little bit more toward a pink. Yes, I like that. Yep, quite unfortunate. I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to be good and not do that. It's easy to get caught up in drama, but these things unfortunately happen. I'm glad to see that they're doing well. I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I try to stay out of things. Nothing good can come out of it. It's okay. I can be aware of my nature and fight against it because I have a brain that is more complex than a goldfish, and that's a good way to be. So I can just recognize that, you know, nothing good is gonna come out of it. It's just unfortunate. I think it's fine to leave it as this is unfortunate. It is a wonderful thing about being human. I'm not saying that the people that do speculate have brains smaller than goldfish. Not my intention there. I kind of realized what I said after I said it. But, more that, I don't think most animals can fight their nature, but I do think humans can. So, you know. It's a privilege of being human. Yep. And, you know, sometimes that's all you can really say. It is what it is. Okay. I'm gonna do that later. I just wanted to make sure that I would be able to see whether or not I liked her gaze here. Gaze, always very important. There you go. I want to make sure it looks like she's looking right at us. Right now she looks a little cross-eyed. Philosophy on what? That's a very broad subject. I even talked a lot about it today, if you want to watch the VOD. I talked a lot about a lot of things. Okay. Time to just do some minor adjustments in various places. Life's pretty cool. I like being alive. Go out, do what you want. Life's great. Let's see, I'm not entirely happy with the angle of the eyebrows there. She's looking a little sad. I just want it to look a little more gentle as opposed to sad. And then I guess what I talked about today, you know, embrace suffering. It'll be great. You know, don't be afraid of your negative emotions. When it comes down to it, emotions are information. And they're just there telling you something. So, you know, listen. But like people, you don't have to listen to them. Brains are dumb. They don't always know what's going on. So, you know, don't be afraid of emotions that can kind of feel bad. That was the big one from today. I rambled about it quite a lot. Okay, that's looking much better. So now I think I can clean up the edge of her head here and kind of handle the head shadows. But I think before I finish them off, I'm gonna go ahead and work on the eyes because I want to do eyes today. I have been wanting to for a while. What the heck is that? Oh, eye white. Okay. Fair enough. Probably, but I'm not sure why I would. You don't normally squint eyes when you're happy. I mean, I guess I could, you know, do, like, this kind of thing, but she's not that kind of happy. It's a very gentle smile. It's not the kind that would, lift up her cheeks. There we go. Just carefully taper in the edge there. And then at some point, there's going to be some hair back there, so I'm not worried about the void. But it is not yet time for that, so it's all good. I should probably work on this without the hair on, though. Just to make sure I get the angle of that cheek looking, like, her cheeks must be cute. That's what led me to kind of redo the proportions of the face when I realized that they were wrong because I could not make her cheek cute. Could not make the cheek cute. But now I think it looks pretty cute. I think it's all in the right place, and I think all is well there, so I can turn the hair back on, and yeah, carry on. And now I can do her eyes. I'm gonna do the head shadows. Let's see. Yeah, I think I want to do it with the hair off there. Just to make sure that I get all of these right. And you know what? I need to bring up my off-stream reference here. Okay. I want to make sure I get the shape of her eyes right. They're actually surprisingly sharp. She has very sharp eyes. Oh yeah, I mean, everyone in Planckera art is going to be bald for a little while. Always. It's okay. They get their hair back eventually. But that won't be for a little while, because I need her to be bald for a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Whatever it takes to let me draw what I want to draw. Yeah, and the bottom of her eyes are quite flat. I will draw a little lash going up there because I like to. But they're also very thin. So let's make them a little bit thinner here. I was hoping to do a little bit more with the face today, but I am about out of time here. That's okay. I should at least be able to get her eyelashes done. Maybe I can get started on the irises. At the very least, they should be prepped. Yes, her eyes are quite sharp. I always try, when I'm drawing fan art, I try to get the shape of the eye pretty close to the source because it makes a big difference in the impression of the character. So this will make her look much more like Leia than if I gave her the softer eyes. Even though maybe softer eyes suits the feeling of the image that I'm going for a little bit better. But that's no good if it doesn't look like Leia. So, you know, I gotta draw them like how her eyes actually look. And then it's my job as the artist to translate. To figure out how to translate that into the mood I am going for. But fortunately, it's not too hard with her. Even if her eyes are kind of sharp, her entire design is very soft. So, very easy to manage. But I think this is one where the lighting is really going to make it. I feel like that's true for most of my art, but I feel like it's especially true for this one. I am so looking forward to getting the light on this. The light. It just makes everything so much better. I might need to adjust this eyebrow a bit, but I want to get the lines here the way I want. Hello there, Zeppetto. Welcome back. This is telling me that this eye should actually be a little bit higher. Okay. There we go. I probably just killed her eyebrows, didn't I? Oh well. Okay, Zeppetto is working. It's the first word I see. Alright. Think that looks right? They actually angle upward a little bit in the corner. I think this is fine on this side, but I'm gonna try to keep that upward angle. Keep that slight upward angle. There we go. Let's see, I don't like the angle of that, though. I think it needs to be steeper. Oh yeah, much. See, her eyes are surprisingly sharp for such a gentle character design. It still surprises me every time I see it. It does. Okay, I think I need to make this one sharper too then. Send it on down. There we go. Oh, nice. I plan to draw her next. I just happen to really feel like drawing space, and that just suited Leia here more. but I think I have a pretty solid idea for her, too. Once I finish this piece, the next one will be Katya. She is. Very nice grandma. All right, let's get this bottom lash nice and thin, and then I'll do my little bit that comes up, just because I like to. I'm willing to deviate from the design slightly for my own stylistic purposes, but I do try to keep a lot of the shapes relatively similar. I just like having a little bit of closing here. I've actually been considering drawing the eyes such that I actually close them all the way, but I haven't started doing so. Okay, there we go. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm not going to turn her hair back on yet. I also don't trust myself when it comes to eyelash fluff right now, so I will do it on a separate layer and merge it when I'm done. Let's get the basic eyelashes. I mean, it's fun. I didn't even debut. I just started streaming. It's like I was initially going to do a debut, but then I started trying to do a social media campaign. I hated it. I recognized that it was just stopping me from getting started. So I decided not to debut, and I didn't. And I am still here. Oh yes, Happy New Year. But yeah, I mean, odds are, unless you're inviting your friends, no one's gonna come to your debut anyway. So, you know, don't worry about it. I mean, that's why I say legit. If you're independent, odds are you're gonna be streaming to 0 people for a while. I streamed to 0 viewers for well over a year before I started getting my first. And it's only recently that I've gotten to the point where I can actually count on people showing up every time. Until recently, it's like occasionally I'd get people trickling in, but most days I was still streaming to 0 people. I think it's fine. There we go. I think those are looking nice and fluffy. Actually, no. I changed my mind. I don't like them. I gotta try again. See, this is why I said I didn't trust myself. I like this side, but I feel like I got too much going on the other side. Let's try again. Yeah, no problem. You know, as always, I am honored to be background music. Always am. Okay, yeah, that looks better. Let's get the lower ones. I love drawing really fluffy eyelashes. They make me happy. Hehe. good luck. I think it's a good time. I mean, there's a reason that I've been able to stick around with it for so long, even though I had, like, zero traction until recently. I still have a really good time. I just like being here. I like drawing for the internet. It is a good time. So good luck. I wish you luck with your stream. I see. Oh, congrats. Yeah. Good job. Okay, and I think that should be good. So I'll go turn on my layers again. Oh, shoot. But I'm probably gonna have to stop there, unfortunately. Okay, but I at least kind of have the eyes prepped. I'm gonna do the eye whites real quick. Ah, sneeze. Okay. I'm gonna do her eye whites real quick, but then I gotta stop. I don't really want to, but I gotta. I got things to do. Oh yeah, I don't do line art. I just go. For a while, I started with a black and white underpainting, and then would color it later, but I found that I prefer just starting in color right away. I feel like everything is stronger when I do it like that. My colors are better when I think about them right from the beginning. So that's why I stopped doing it like that. Let me see, I need to turn off her hair again real quick. Gonna go bald for just a little longer here, but I need to make sure I get the angle of the eye right there. And I base that on the location of the eyelashes. I mean, sometimes I draw pictures in black and white, but if I'm doing that, then black and white is my color choice. So, that is still a deliberate color choice. And sometimes I do change colors and other stuff partway through, but that is fine. I can do whatever I want. Okay. Let's see. Looks like I'm missing a little bit in the corner there, but otherwise we're all good. And now I can fix that, turn her hair back on. I'll go ahead and turn her glasses back on and turn on the rest of my layers. I feel like her irises are a bit large, but I'm going to worry about that next time because unfortunately, I got places to go and things to do. Oh, it's fine. I don't mind people making comments. It's all good. Now, there we go. I think she's looking a little bit cuter than before, so that's with a lot of her hair and face refined. And next time, I'm hopeful that I'll be able to dig right into eyes almost immediately, and it'll be great. Then I can finally do that, and Well, you know, finishing the face always makes me happy. So there we go. And thank you very much. But I gotta stop here for today, as much as I'd love to keep drawing. So, you know, thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. Embrace suffering. It'll be great. You'll be able to feel many more interesting things and do many more interesting things, I promise. Anyway, I will see you all tomorrow.